Today we're getting into the latest Tesla news, including the new Model Y configuration for 2023, price increase speculation, Elon's work at Twitter, and more, so let's get into it. First up today, Elon Musk has been hard at work over at Twitter since his deal closed for $44 billion at the end of October. At this point, he is now splitting his time mainly between CEO of Tesla, CEO of SpaceX, and then his work at Twitter. Initially, he's working very hard on Twitter. In a recent interview with Ron Barron, he said, "My workload went up from about 70 to 80 hours a week to probably 120. He expects it to be that way for a few months and said he has no choice." Right now, Twitter is the main thing he's tweeting about, making changes for impersonator accounts unless they specifically label themselves as parody, trying to ensure people that content moderation has remained unchanged at Twitter since he took over, and even monetizing long-form content. On November 5th, he said, "Twitter will soon add ability to attach long-form text to tweets, ending absurdity of notepad screenshots," and added that this would be followed by creator monetization for all forms of content. After this, he specified, "We can do 42-minute chunks at 1080 resolution now for New Blue, so you could break up a longer video. The 42-minute limit should be fixed next month," and then asked, "How does YouTube monetization work and what could Twitter do better?" A huge part of YouTube's success is their creator monetization program, which allows creators like myself to focus in full time on the content they make. This leads to better content overall, so it looks like Elon is going after this success with Twitter. This would be a huge change to the platform that some see as extremely far-fetched and others see as genius. Quinn Nelson said, "YouTube gives creators 55% of ad revenue for what it's worth, and Elon said we can beat that." As with everything Elon, it's important to keep Elon time in mind, but this will be interesting to see develop. Long-form monetized video could be something that really makes an impact for Twitter, with YouTubers potentially posting on Twitter or moving over there long-term if it proves worthwhile. A lot has to happen before anything like that is possible, though, and it could end up being something we never see. For now, his main plan is to make a change to blue checkmarks, requiring people to pay $8 a month to be verified. For those mainly interested in Tesla, all of this can be a bit frustrating to see. Elon is the face of Tesla, and right now it seems that all he cares about and all he is doing is Twitter. He wanted to back out of this deal for a while, so it seems like he may have made a mistake with this purchase and now has to spend lots of time away from Tesla as a result. At the same time, Tesla's stock is down quite a bit since September, around a third. Regarding his balance of work at Tesla, Elon expects Twitter to end up easier to manage in the future, saying, quote, "I think once Twitter is set on the right path, I think it is a much easier thing to manage than SpaceX or Tesla." He also tweeted about his work at Tesla on November 5th, saying, "I still do a lot of work at Tesla. Was at our Palo Alto engineering office until late Thursday night when I had to red-eye to New York." In the past as well, people like Walter Isaacson have observed Elon's ability to multitask. Back in April, he tweeted saying, "Late last night, after winning his battle for Twitter, Elon Musk was in Boca Chica and held his regular 10 p.m. meeting on Raptor engine design, where he spent more than an hour working on valve leak solutions. No one mentioned Twitter. He can multitask." This is great to hear for Tesla investors and enthusiasts alike, but many still worry about what this Twitter deal could do for Tesla long term. It may end up actually taking Elon's focus away, or it could hurt his reputation and in turn Tesla's reputation even further. We'll have to see how this develops in the future, and I'll keep you posted, but what do you think? Are you frustrated with Elon's Twitter deal, in support of it, or both? Leave a comment below to let me know your thoughts. Next up today, coming up in 2023, Tesla appears to be launching a new Model Y in the United States. When Tesla originally announced the Model Y, they talked about 4 different trims: standard range rear-wheel drive, long-range rear-wheel drive, long-range all-wheel drive, and performance. They initially took orders of the last 3, but ended up never shipping that long-range rear-wheel drive configuration in favor of all-wheel drive. They did the same with the Model 3. Briefly in the US, they launched the standard range Model Y, but removed it entirely after Elon said, "I don't think the range in many drive conditions yet meets the Tesla standard of excellence." He mentioned you could get it off menu, but this didn't last long. They continued to sell this configuration outside of the US, built at Giga Shanghai. Then it looked like Tesla's plans were shifting in the US for the Model Y to utilize 4680 cells at Giga Texas, but the approach here was much different than expected. Instead of making a new long-range Model Y with those cells, potentially with longer range than before, Tesla launched a standard range all-wheel drive Model Y for employees. This was priced right at $60,000, far higher than many hoped, and included a 279-mile EPA range. It also got a 0 to 60 in 5 seconds and utilized Tesla's new 4680 cells built in-house. Tesla then shipped this to a few customers, selling them in inventory, but shortly after we saw this configuration configuration entirely disappear. Giga Texas shifted production to long-range Model Ys with 2170 cells, likely due to constraints on 4680 supply. We weren't sure of the fate of this car for 2023, but now it's been confirmed that Tesla will be making it. Tesla got EPA approval for the 2023 Model Y recently, and this includes 3 different configurations: long-range all-wheel drive, performance all-wheel drive, and simply all-wheel drive. This should be the 279-mile standard range all-wheel drive Model Y out of Giga Texas, so it's in Tesla's plans to ship this again in 2023. A standard range Model Y would be extremely popular for Tesla, especially with an impending 2023 tax credit of $7,500 they expect to fully qualify for on this car, but many think Tesla will simply raise their prices once this is in place. Others are speculating that Tesla will raise prices and cancel certain vehicle trims due to the requirements of the revised EV tax credit. Troy Teslike, who regularly studies Tesla's deliveries, thinks that Tesla may cancel the long-range and performance Model 3 come 2023 in the US, even though Tesla has said the long-range Model 3 will be coming back in 2023. The tax credit MSRP cap is $55,000 for the category the Model 3 falls into, meaning the long-range and performance Model 3 won't qualify at current pricing. Tesla would need to drop the long-range Model 3 by around $3,000 to qualify. I think they may do this, but the other theory is that they will just cancel it in favor of the Model Y. The cap is $80,000 for the category the Model Y falls into, so customers buying that car in the long-range configuration would get pricing pretty much on par with a Model 3. It would be around the same price from a customer's perspective for a Model 3 or Model Y. The Model Y includes many things that people prefer over the Model 3. We obviously won't know what Tesla does here until 2023, but this is an interesting perspective. The other theory Troy Teslike has is that the tax credit will see another round of Tesla price increases. Quote, the Model 3 standard range currently starts at $47,000. If Tesla didn't do anything, the cost to buyers who qualify would drop to $39,500 on January 1st, and Tesla would receive a ton more orders, but Tesla doesn't want that because the number of orders is already at a sustainable level at current prices. In other words, if they do nothing, they will deliver all production, and if they increase prices, they will still deliver all production. They see Tesla raising certain prices by $5,000 in the US for cars that qualify, since there is plenty of demand here. Tesla raising by $5,000 still ends up with customers saving $2,500 over today's prices on certain configurations. Tesla is definitely known to do things like this, so we'll have to see what happens. Ultimately, if this did happen, the best position to be in would be to have your order in before 2023 and then take delivery in 2023 when the tax credit is in place. It's all speculation though, so we could see increases or decreases. I personally don't see Tesla canceling the long-range Model 3 entirely, but I'm very curious to see what they do there. Next up today, regarding that impending EV tax credit, there are a lot of specific requirements of that bill that will end up requiring batteries and their materials to be produced in the US. As a result, companies like GM say that they expect to fully qualify for the full tax credit in 2 to 3 years. At their earnings call, they said, we think out of the gate, we're going to be eligible for the $3,750 and will ramp to have full qualification in the next 2 to 3 years, getting up to the $7,500. They see themselves well positioned for the future, but right away may not be able to qualify. The strict battery requirements of the Inflation Reduction Act require that, quote, at least 40% of the value of critical minerals used in the EV's battery will need to be manufactured or assembled in the US with its free trade partners or recycled here in North America. Each year after that, the requirement goes up by 10%. They also require that beginning next year, at least half of the value of the EV's battery components will need to be manufactured or assembled in North America. Likewise, the requirement will increase by 10% each year. This quickly rules out a lot of EVs such that many popular EV models will not qualify for a tax credit in 2023. For Ford, Jim Farley said, quote, next year we believe we'll meet the $3,750 critical minerals credit requirement on certain Mustang Mach-E and F-150 Lightning models. In 2024, the rules will further restrict this critical materials credit, so we believe it's a fairly level playing field right now for all the OEMs as our supply chain of critical minerals extracted or processed in the US and FTA develops. For Tesla, they said on their last earnings call that they fully expect to meet the IRA requirements for tax credits on new EV purchases. It remains unclear which cars will qualify, but most assume all Model Ys and potentially the standard range Model 3 depending on the batteries it uses. Since this act came quickly, many are hoping it can be changed to allow time for production and scaling of batteries in the US, while encouraging people to buy EVs in the meantime. On Friday, members of Congress introduced a bill called the Affordable Electric Vehicles for America Act. The aim of this bill bill is to lower the threshold of owning an EV and would establish a phase-in period for battery sourcing and manufacturing requirements in the Inflation Reduction Act. Many automakers like Hyundai plan to have their cars qualify, but need time to adjust plans and scale production in areas required by this bill. Currently, as the bill is, Hyundai EVs will be disqualified until their factories are operational in the US, which is currently slated for 2025. Representative Cleaver said of the bill, quote, "Our legislation takes important steps to make the historic electric vehicle tax credits passed in the Inflation Reduction Act immediately accessible to consumers, particularly working and middle-class Americans who would like to purchase an electric vehicle but need the federal credit to do so, as oil companies insist on continuing their exorbitant price gouging of American families at the pump. These tax credits offer hardworking Americans immediate and significant financial assistance to help them purchase a vehicle that is better both for the environment and their wallets. Essentially, this will delay the date when EV battery sourcing and manufacturing requirements kick in. This would give buyers more access to EVs right away while moving and promoting manufacturing in the US in the future. We'll see if this ends up passing, and I'll be sure to keep you posted. Next up today, a small update for the Cybertruck. The latest for Cybertruck production is that Tesla is in tooling at Giga Texas, but it's been a while since we've seen any new design details for the Cybertruck. Now, a new photo has been released by the Peterson Museum, who will be putting on a display of Tesla vehicles, and it shows the charge port door for the Cybertruck. This is from the original prototype, but it features an altered Tesla logo with a cyberpunk flair to it. This is the first time we've seen this logo from Tesla, and we'll likely see this logo come into play in the future. Since this original prototype, the location of the charge port has actually changed to the wheel well from what we can tell, but this is very much a crude prototype image here. The final version will likely look much more like a combo of this, as well as the photo released by the Peterson Museum. This display will be in their museum in Los Angeles and is called Inside Tesla. It will include multiple versions of the Tesla Roadster, from the 2005 prototype to the 2020 next-gen Roadster prototype in white, Tesla's 1 millionth vehicle, which is a red Model Y built in 2020, the Model S Plaid from the Nürburgring, the full-size Cyberquad prototype as well as the small one, original Cybertruck prototype, original Model 3 prototype, and lastly, the original Model X prototype. They also posted a behind-the-scenes video of them uncovering the Cybertruck and showing the semi-prototype on display. It definitely includes everything for a Tesla enthusiast. The exhibit begins on November 20th and should be very interesting to see. Next up today, details about Tesla's new referral program in China have come out. Their program is called Treasure Chest, and each referral earns you points that you can redeem for items on the store. When someone buys a Tesla with your link, you will earn 3,500 credits, and if you buy one yourself, you earn 7,000 credits called loyalty credits. Within the Tesla app, you can redeem for things like the Cyber Whistle, a Model 3 or Y key fob, a pair of Cybertruck socks, and more. Here's an example of credits being able to buy a Cyber Rodeo t-shirt for 1,900 credits. The comparative value of this shows that each referral ends up being worth about $60 USD. You can also redeem credits for free supercharging, with 750 kilometers costing 3,500 credits and 1,500 kilometers costing 7,000 credits. This means that each referral is worth around half of what the old program was worth. Tesla instituted this program in China at the same time they dropped prices over there, so many don't expect them to need to bring this to the US anytime soon. If they did though, it would be great to see again, even if a referral is worth around half of what it used to be. Last up today, some updates about other automakers. BMW has officially launched their new i7 electric luxury sedan. It includes 536 horsepower, a 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds, and an EPA range of 318 miles on its 101.7 kilowatt-hour usable battery. Inside, the i7 is all about luxury, with a theater screen in the back that spans the width of the roof and extends down for rear passengers. There are also executive lounge chairs in the rear with seats fully reclining. There are even touchscreens on each door to control various vehicle features like that screen, the massaging seats in the back, blinds, and more. Up front, there's a large split main screen and a number of luxurious touches. The price comes in at $119,300, which will definitely be taking on the Tesla Model S. The Model S offers better specs in many ways around this price, but does not match the level of luxury this i7 includes. It's expected to be a very popular electric option in the price range it's at. As always, the big unknown here is third-party charging, which I recently experienced a lot of trouble with in my Rivian R1T. Over at Ford, their F-150 Lightning is proving just how valuable powerful onboard charging and vehicle-to-grid capabilities can be. Remy Oakte has found that their electric plane with a 21 kilowatt-hour battery can be effectively charged with an F-150 Lightning. Ultimately, there are a lot of details here, but this adds to the slew of real use cases we've seen for these capabilities, including powering a movie set, powering emergency response efforts in floods, powering people's homes in blackouts, and more. It's essentially a giant, very functional battery pack on wheels, and it's It's showing that these features should be standard in all EVs. I would love to see these features added to Teslas in the future, especially starting with the Cybertruck. Lamborghini plans to unveil their first electric supercar in 2028. For now, they're going all in on hybrids, and they believe that they don't need to decide between electric, synthetic fuel, or other options until 2025. Many think it'll be too late for them, waiting another 6 years to unveil an all-electric supercar, while brands like Rimac already have incredible supercars beating the performance of all other cars on the road. That's all the latest Tesla news for today, so in the meantime, if you want to see the latest for Tesla's battery advantages in the US, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.